So are companies and their brands more willing today to take risks to stand up for social and environmental issues? For example, we recently heard in the news that Electronic Arts was including Colin Kaepernick in the latest Madden NFL game, despite not being on the team. Well, the idea that corporations are taking a stand is actually not new, and it falls under a broad umbrella term of corporate social responsibility, which are the activities related to a company's perceived societal or stakeholder obligations. And so the first question we might ask is if it makes sense for a company to engage in CSR in the first place. Well, there's actually been a lot of research done in business to suggest that when done properly, investing in CSR can have a positive impact on firm value. What that means is if you take two firms and hold everything else equal, the firm which engages in corporate social responsibility tends to be more valuable than the one that does not. Now, looking at it through the lens of the consumer, we do tend to see a lot of positive benefits for engaging in CSR. Consumers tend to have more positive attitudes and higher purchase intentions for companies that engage in CSR, especially when it's those companies that they're particularly passionate about. Now, in a bit of surprising research, researchers at Northwestern University found that acts of social goodwill could alter product perceptions, even when that goodwill was unrelated to a company's core business. So for example, a company makes phones, but they donate money to unrelated charities. And the researchers found that products of companies engaged in pro-social behaviors and activities were perceived as performing better. So based on all this research, we know that it makes sense for companies to engage in CSR. If we look at recent examples, such as Nike launching a campaign with Colin Kaepernick, Uncle Ben's renaming itself to just Ben's, Patagonia being outspoken against the Republican Party, the next question we might ask is if companies are taking more risks today with the social causes that they are supporting. And for that, we should look at our views as a society and how they have rapidly changed in the last few years. So for example, in 2015, Democratic presidential campaign candidate Hillary Clinton, while campaigning and trying to appeal to a broad group of moderates, used the phrase, "all lives matter." In 2020, today, we see that a lot has changed. This past summer, you had a prominent Republican, Mitt Romney, marching with Black Lives Matters protesters. We have the first female Black vice presidential campaign candidate, Kamala Harris. And amongst Americans this past summer, we're seeing widespread protests demanding social change. If you were to poll North American consumers, you would likely see that our attitudes around these social and environmental issues have, for the most part, really shifted. And so what we're seeing is that a lot of these companies see it as their responsibility as corporate citizens to also take a position. Firms out there are realizing that these are the issues that are important to their customers, and they view taking a stand as part of their societal obligations. And interestingly, it's paying off. For example, in 2018, Nike and Colin Kaepernick released a campaign that at first was seen as somewhat controversial. But in the days to follow, it was widely seen as a huge success. And in fact, on a subsequent earnings call, the CEO for Nike said, quote, "It resulted in record engagement with the brand." So it's not so much that firms are trying to change their strategy, but rather that consumers' opinions and attitudes have shifted. Companies nowadays do a lot of marketing research and know that these are the social and environmental issues that are important to their customers. And they then see supporting these causes as a net positive for the company.